All right, so with weathering and erosion, we get changes in the Earth's surface. So this is going to be a really quick unit. There's not too many slides. There's just a few key things that you're going to need to know for the tests and the quizzes. All right, so wearing down and building up, that's what we're doing when we're changing the Earth's surface. So wearing down is going to be erosion, and then sediment's in there because sediment is carried through erosion properties, and then that sediment is going to be deposited. So that's going to be the building up. So constructive force is deposition of sediment, destructive force is erosion of sediment. And destructive doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing, it's just a change. And so here you get a picture of all of it. We've got the erosion right in here. It's bringing sediment from this area, or in here too as well. This tributary is going to be coming into here, joining this river. This river is going to erode the sides of the bank. It's going to bring sediment with it. This sediment is going to come over here, get deposited in this meander right here, build up the bank, and then it's going to come into here. As you can see, it's getting deposited right in here. All that sediment kind of deposits and forms a delta right here. You're going to find out what a delta is in the next unit. But really what's happening is erosion happens somewhere around here. It carries that sediment until it either hits like the side of the bank. If it hits an obstacle or it slows down, it's going to deposit stuff. So that erosion happens, it carries the sediment down, it hits this bank here, deposits sediment, builds up the bank. Over here, it builds up this delta, and deltas are really fertile ecosystems. So really it's just building up a nice ecosystem for many different types of plants and animal species. So the next thing we're going to talk about is mass movement. So the main thing that you're going to need to know for the quiz and the test is that the main force of mass movement is gravity. So mass movement, we're talking about things just coming down, and gravity is the force that's pulling down. So we've got landslides, mudflows, slumps, and creeps. So landslides, these are the most dangerous ones. It's rapid movement of the earth from high to low. So, I mean, we kind of see that here with rock slides in Colorado, but most of the time landslides are much larger than just your typical rock slides. So they happen in China a lot, and China's got so many people, they kind of have to build their villages or cities in areas where they may be prone to landslides, and when that happens, then a lot of people perish because landslides happen very quickly, and it's a lot of earth moving from the top to a resting position down low. And a lot of the times villages and cities are built down low at the bottom of landslide areas, so at the bottom of mountains. So if you get a landslide happening, then you get a lot of destruction, a lot of death. Then we've got mudflows, and they're similar to landslides, but they have a lot more water. I think it's 60% of the mudflow is water. So, you know, when you think of mudflows, just think of a landslide with a lot of water. They're super dangerous as well, but with that water, it kind of makes it easier for people to get away because you float on water, whereas landslides just crush you. Then we have slumps. So when you get like a steep cliff and one part just kind of falls off of that cliff and falls away, that's a slump. I don't think I have a picture for that, but just know that it's a steep cliff and one part of it just kind of falls off. And, you know, physical weathering happens and it just splits. And then we've got a creep. And when you think of a creep, think of like just a creepy person. It's really slow movement of land. It's just creeping down the slope. And that's generally because you have a gentle slope. The grade isn't very high, so it's not like a very steep mountain. If you have a steep mountain, you're going to get landslides. If you have a very gentle slope, you're going to get a creep. And I have a picture of all these. Right here, this is a landslide. You can see, I mean, just how devastating it is. There could have been 5 to 10 houses here, but you'd never know because all that land came down and just destroyed it. And so then you need to come in with excavators, excavate that all out because this is now an area prone to water erosion. So, you know, there's a couple things here that really screw with the environment due to landslides. And you see this, you know, this whole road area got completely cut off. So, you know, there's economic impacts as well. And then right here is a mudslide. This is a relatively innocuous mudslide, meaning that it's not super dangerous. You see people walking in it. That's not the smartest thing to do in a mudslide is walk in the middle of it. You're generally going to want to get to an area where you see that there's not a slope for that water to go down. So you're going to want to get to the side and then try and maybe get to a little area of higher elevation because you can also get caught up in the flash flooding. So you see these cars, they're going down. And then right here, this is a wonderful example of a creep. Um, it's also kind of a good example of a slump. So this really steep cliff area, one side just kind of fell down, but you could also make the argument that this area right here that has kind of fallen down to the bottom of this slope was slowly moving downwards. So that would be a creep as well. So this could either be a slump or a creep. So that slump is going to be where you see just kind of one side of that cliff falling down. But it could also happen in a really slow process. And right here, it's actually a creep. It's still moving down, but it's really slowly moving. So that's all we've got for the unit there. So just make sure you take a look at this part of the PowerPoint. There's going to be questions on it. Make sure you're familiar with that. And then remember, the main force for mass movement is gravity. All right, we'll see you on the next one.